business event. It is a celebration of an industry that is deeply woven in Sri Lanka's history, economy, and global identity. Your theme this year, Resilience and Revitalization, is perfectly chosen. It is the story of the tea industry, but it is also the story of Sri Lanka's economic journey, a nation that endured an unprecedented crisis and is now on the path to recovery. Let me start by acknowledging just how far Sri Lanka has come. Only 3 years ago, the country was in the depths of one of the most severe crises in its history. There were long lines of fuel, severe shortages of basic goods, record inflation, and widespread power outages. Sri Lanka had only a few $1 million left in usable reserves, and the fiscal accounts were severely strained, forcing the authorities to declare a payment moratorium. Both domestic and international confidence had evaporated, and for many households, daily life had become an exercise in hardship. Today, the picture is very different. Today, growth has returned. The economy expanded by 5% in 2024. Inflation is back in the low single digits. Revenue mobilization has improved significantly. International reserves continue to accumulate. Debt restructuring is well advanced, and investor confidence is gradually returning. Sri Lanka also took major steps to strengthen governance and advance its anti-corruption agenda. This remarkable turnaround, this remarkable revitalization did not happen by chance. It is the result of decisive actions by the authorities and the extraordinary resilience of the Sri Lankan people, supported by various external partners such as the IMF. Sri Lanka's Extended Fund Facility program with the IMF was approved in March 2023. And it has so far disbursed about $1.74 billion to support the country's macroeconomic stabilization efforts. These efforts have been focused on restoring fiscal and debt sustainability, rebuilding external buffers, keeping inflation in check, and safeguarding financial stability. The program also seeks to lay the foundations for strong and inclusive growth by addressing governance weaknesses and protecting the poor and vulnerable through stronger social safety nets. The fourth review of Sri Lanka's EFF program with the IMF was completed in July 2025. It assessed that performance is generally strong, but emphasized that continued reform implementation will be critical. That brings me to an essential point. Sri Lanka's recovery is still fragile. The country is operating in a challenging global environment marked by elevated uncertainty due to global trade tensions and geopolitical conflicts. While the occurrence of external shocks is outside the control of authorities, it is possible to mitigate their impact by strengthening the resilience of the economy. This is why it is so important to stay the course on reforms. First, Sri Lanka must continue raising domestic revenue in a way that is fair, transparent, and efficient. That means broadening the tax base and minimizing tax exemptions that disproportionately benefit narrow interests at the expense of the broader public. Every rupee not collected from those who need to pay their fair share is a rupee unavailable for healthcare, education, and social protection. Second, public spending must be carefully targeted. Given limited fiscal resources, it is vital to ensure that subsidies and transfers reach those who need them the most. Strengthening social safety nets is key because the benefits of reforms must reach all Sri Lankans, especially the poor and vulnerable. Third, cost recovery energy pricing should be preserved. This is crucial for minimizing fiscal risks, maintaining fiscal discipline, and directing scarce resources where they are needed most. State-owned enterprises should be managed in a prudent manner to avoid the accumulation of losses and debt that would eventually need to be paid by taxpayers. Fourth, rebuilding international reserves is crucial to increase resilience to shock and help restore market confidence. Sri Lanka should safeguard financial stability and stay committed to price stability by refraining from monetary financing and by upholding central bank independence. Fifth, Sri Lanka must continue implementing governance reforms. The objective here is clear. This is to lay the foundations of a predictable, business-friendly environment, the kind of environment that exporters and investors need to be able to plan confidently and to grow. So, in a context where public resources are scarce and fiscal space constrained, the private sector certainly has a role to play in supporting Sri Lanka's economic recovery and long-term growth. The government should create an enabling environment for the private sector to invest, expand, and create jobs. This requires sustaining macroeconomic stability through prudent policies, ensuring policy predictability, and tackling governance weaknesses. Investor confidence will gradually improve as Sri Lanka builds a track record of sound policy and reform implementation. Within this broader private sector narrative, the tea industry holds a special place. More than 90% of Sri Lanka's tea production is exported, bringing in vital foreign exchange that helps pay for essential imports. The industry directly and indirectly sustains about 2 million livelihoods, from smallholder farmers to estate workers, factory employees, and others engaged in logistics. By strengthening its competitiveness, embracing sustainability, and capturing more value through branding and innovation, the tea industry can play a leading role in Sri Lanka's resilience and revitalization, generating foreign exchange, supporting rural incomes, and keeping Sri Lanka connected to international markets. So, in conclusion, Sri Lanka has demonstrated a remarkable recovery thanks to bold reforms and the commitment of the Sri Lankan people. But the work is not done. Both public and private actors must remain focused, disciplined, and united in purpose, so that Sri Lanka emerges from this period stronger, more competitive, and better prepared for future challenges. The IMF remains a steadfast partner in this journey. Our role is not only to provide financial support and capacity development, but also to be a partner in reform. We are committed to working with the government and engaging closely with private sector and civil society to ensure that this recovery, this revitalization is not only strong, but also inclusive and durable. Thank you very much.